And we're live. We are live. Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast, guys. I'm your co-host, Stratton Brown. I'm an entrepreneur. We have a 7-figure real estate portfolio. We primarily buy storage and creative finance deals. We wholesale a little bit. We have an affiliate marketing company. And I guess we do show people how to wholesale. This is the next thing that we do. And then we own a virtual assistant company for real estate investors that help real estate investors find the best possible talent for their business. Or if you're an entrepreneur, we can help you find world-class talent. We've hired almost at this point over 1,000 people in over 10 different countries over the last couple of years. And then we so you're not the master of hair, but you're Captain America. That's what we got. We are Captain America, hands down. We're actually called the Bad Ankle Boys because Dino, this fuckface, I'll get going on this. So Dean makes fun of me 2 months ago because I went and played basketball after one on Real Estate Disruptors, and I broke my ankle, and it blew up like a balloon.
Wait, did you break it?
Bro, I had to get wheeled through an airport on a wheelchair.
I'm gonna laugh at you at that.
Bro, I got rolled around like a fucking fatty. Like they were like pushing me through the airport because I couldn't walk. Like Xavier had to like take me to a Rite Aid. I got crutches. I took a bunch of like Advil. It was awful. Like it still, when I say it still hurts, bro, it still hurts.
Yeah.
But so Dean made fun of me for that because I was playing basketball. And then yesterday, I'll let you tell your little story.
I guess we have to.
Then I'll give you a quick little intro.
So I get the exclusive invite to go play at Than Merrill's house. And I've played a couple times there before. He's got a sweet spot. His backyard is insane, just decked out to like, if you could make up your dream backyard, this is it. He's got he's made improvements since I was last there. He literally has specialized full court with the Air Jordan in the paint on both sides. It's sick, dude. And blast some music, like it's a cool vibe. I'm playing lights out, 3 games, hitting game winners. Playing good, feeling good, looking saucy. And the 4th game, I take it to the paint. I'm driving it, and I think I roll my ankle on a guy's foot, and just, oh, dude, I'm devastated. I hear a pop, and I haven't rolled my ankle in like 6 months, or sorry, 6 years, 6 years, and I'm just feeling like an absolute idiot, dude. I'm like, dude, I'm here having a fun time and I roll my ankle after I was giving you such a hard time. Like, I don't know if part of it was because, dude, the last 2 weeks I haven't really worked out. We've been on the road, family mastermind and Ryan Pineda's event. I don't know if that was a part of it or what, but I'm emotionally down right now.
Emotionally down, bro. And you're going to start to get a little bit pudgy because that basketball's our cardio. You know, it's not like we're like running. So
dude, I was feeling lean and mean after the game too, dude. Like my stomach was super leaned out. Like those were tough games, dude. It was 3-on-3 and it was super competitive, dude. We were like breathing hard after like each play, dude. It was really fun.
I want to get investor hoops going again. When Jason had a court in his backyard, we'd have investor hoops. And we'd have like 8 of us show up and we'd all just hoop for like 2 hours.
See, part of the reason I was making fun of you is I, to this day, am not interested in playing with people I know. Not interested in it. Why? Because there is the added pressure, like I said, of like, oh, I know that person. Like, I'm going to shut Stratton down.
I'm going to shut Stratton down.
Like, hey, me and Stratton both played football. And like, I'm going to make sure Stratton knows that I'm good. So I'm going to play extra aggressive on him. Like that's the vibe I know I'll get from other people. They're going to be like, oh, this guy played in the NFL. I'm going to freaking hack his ass when he's in the paint. I don't need that in my life. I don't need some people that are like trying to undercut me on a layup or some BS like that. Like I don't want any of that. I want to play with people that know how to play. They're excited to play. And like, they're not trying to prove themselves. Right. So anyways, I get the invite from Than and like I've played with him before. Such a good dude. I mean, I could go on and on about that, but bunch of other guys that are, you know, in different companies of his, competitive guys, athletic guys. And so it was fun, dude. But man, I'm feeling very sad about that. Angry. I came back defeated, dude.
Karma's a bitch. So that is Dean Rogers, Mr. Captain America,
Yeah.
King Dispo here in the Central Valley. Give yourself a quick little intro, Mr.
Yeah.
King.
So co-host here of the Deal Champs podcast, Dean Rogers. My story is I transitioned from the NFL to the corporate world, then on to real estate. Been investing in real estate for going on a decade now in Central California. Done just under 600 deals at this point, getting up there. Rental portfolio is right around $10 million. And as of last year, started coaching students how to get started in real estate, how to get consistent deals, how to have those breakthroughs. I'm super passionate about that. For anyone that wants to connect with me, you can go to deanrogers.com. Quick shout out to Mr. Pat Hilton, the most dangerous man, self-proclaimed most dangerous man in the business right now. He's all over the place. You can't go to a real estate meetup without seeing Mr. Pat Hilton right there, shouting, getting everybody excited. It was fun to see him at Ryan Pineda's event. He'll be,
by the way,
emceeing at our next big event, which we'll talk about here when we get to announcements. So yeah, Mr. Scott Luke, what's up, Scott?
What's going on? But guys, welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. Our mission here is to empower and inspire listeners by highlighting like real life deals from people across the country. We've had quite a few people from the Central Valley on here. We're going to be doing interviews from different top entrepreneurs and experts in our field. And we aim to provide valuable insights and like actionable takeaways so you guys can actually like be helped. It's not some just, hey, here's my story, but we want to give you actionable tips that you can go and apply in your business and go do more deals. Whether that is big deals, little deals, commercial, whatever it is, there's always some takeaways that we want. Don't forget to go hit that like and subscribe button right down there. This is 100% free. We don't sell you guys anything on here. We probably won't ever do ads, right? And then go leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and follow me on Instagram at StratDaddy and Mr. Dean Rogers at Dean Rogers Real Estate. Dino, where do they submit the deals? And today we have a dope deal that we're going to talk about that is a juicy one.
Yep. So guys, one of the things that's cool about this podcast is we like to highlight other people. We could get up here and just talk about our deals all the time, which we're going to talk about some deals today, how to structure them. But we like to highlight other people, bring other people into it. So today we've got another special guest. But how you submit your deals, if you guys want to have your deals highlighted, you guys can submit those. We want to highlight you on here. You can do that by going to deanrogers.com/podcast. It'll take you straight to a Google form. You fill out all your information. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to have you brag about your deal, tell a good story about your deal, because I think the more people that hear it, the more people that are going to be inspired, motivated. So make sure to go to deanrogers.com/podcast, submit your deal.
And then everybody, if you are on StreamYard, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so we can see who you are when you leave your comments. And we have quite a few people in here right now. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do. Put it in the comments for us so we can get a little bit of interaction. We love seeing your guys' comments, seeing your questions, and whatever we can help you guys out with. Today's topics, I think we should cover a little bit of
Let's hit announcements first. Yeah.
Okay.
We got a couple we got to talk about.
We have a big, I think we have a really, really big one. We have a massive, massive event coming on May 13th. We have some amazing speakers coming out. We got Carlos Reyes, an OG in the wholesaling space, is going to come and talk about how he's dominating the recession. We're co-hosting it with our good friend Michael Zuber, Mr. Daily Financial News, who's going to come in and drop some absolute knowledge. Nicole Espinoza, the short sale queen. And she was like one of the first people I started following in real estate when I got started.
You told me that,
like
yeah.
5-6
That's
years
super
ago.
cool.
Right. And so that's really cool for me. And then we have us. Do we have any? And we may have one other really, really cool speaker.
Yeah. And none other. We also have none other than Mr. MC himself, the most dangerous man in real estate, Pat Hilton.
Most dangerous man in real estate.
He's going to be there getting everybody fired up. I'm excited to see what that looks like in Fresno. I mean, I've seen it in other places, but to see him just like shaking the building in Fresno, California, I'm pretty excited for it.
All right. Well, bro, and Pat, if you're still watching this, thank you, bro. He gave us a shout out in Ryan Pineda's event on the
He
VIP
did.
day. Gave me,
He
you,
did.
and Jason all a shout out. And that means a lot from the MC.
He's lifting people up, man. That's why he's dangerous.
But hey, what's going on, Eduardo? What's going on, my man?
What's up? What's up? Yeah, guys, if you're watching this live, we see there's a couple dozen people. Make sure to let us know where you're from, who you are. We want to get the engagement going. So make sure to do that. Got somebody here, the no name, looking forward to it. Make sure you go to streamyard.com/Facebook so we can see who this is. But yes, the big event is going to be awesome.
Do we want to give a quick recap of Pineda's event and what we learned from it and takeaways? Because I did learn a lot, and then we can go into some deal structure. Because I think it's super valuable to people. We paid a lot of money
real quick.
To go to it.
So we alluded to it, but we didn't like officially announce the big event. So we're going to start talking about this more regularly. We want to get as many people. The last event we had in Central California, the big event, we have monthly meetups, but the last big event we had was in November. We had Pace Morby, Jameel Damji, Henry Washington, and there was a handful of us that basically put the event on and co-hosted it. And it was so much fun. We had 600 people there, and action packed, man. I mean, there was literally people crying at the event. There's people like cheering, getting excited, getting hyped up, making new connections, new relationships. I got to say this story till it gets tired. There was a truck driver that came to the event, came to us because I talked about how we do deals with other people. It turned into $110,000 deal. Truck driver, $110,000 deal. We split it 50-50. We dealt with the cash for keys and all that kind of stuff. This truck driver got a wire from me for $52,500 because we had 105 net profit deal. I mean, that's
life-changing, bro.
Life-changing.
Life-changing.
This is why you got to go to these type of events, man, is you meet new relationships, new opportunities. You have to go to it. So our next big event is going to be May 13th. May 13th in Fresno, California. We talked about the speakers, and you guys can go. I made it easy. I made a little quick link. You guys can go to deanrogers.com/event. It's on eventcreate.com/recession-domination.
Yeah, deanrogers.com/event.
I didn't think that would roll off the tongue too well. So I created a quick link for you guys, deanrogers.com/event. Take you right to the page. You can see all the details about the event. It's on May 13th. It's going to be a one-day, all-day, action-packed event. And you guys got to be there. I'm telling you right now, life-changing things happen. It's a one-day event. You don't have to commit to several days. It's a one-day event. We make that intentional so that you can get action-packed value and relationships within that one day, and take that with you. So make sure you guys go to the event. We'd love to see you guys there. And let's see, what else were we going to get into? You want to talk about Pineda's event?
I think skimming over Pineda's event a little bit and like some of the key takeaways that we had, because I mean we paid a lot of money just to go VIP.
We did,
and learn quite a bit.
We paid thousands of dollars,
thousands
each. Yep.
Each. Could have got it for $100, but that's neither here nor there. My big takeaway was the randomness in content. And so if you guys are watching us on this, you should all be making as much social media content as possible. And everybody should know what you do, because as you evolve in your real estate journey, even if you're not going to get deals from it, you got to raise money somehow. Right? And then people are going to have self-directed IRAs, whatever it is, and be able to invest with you. And so I'm always actively trying to grow my brand. And it was really more of a brand conference than anything. Even the day that you missed, it was like a brand day. It wasn't.
They still talked about it then, huh?
Yeah, it was like a really, really big brand day. And so my big takeaway was making a lot of just random content about hobbies, parenting, whatever I'm doing. And then what was another big one?
So that's what I did. Like literally yesterday, I just shot content that I have not been shooting. All my content's been how to wholesale a house, how to flip a house, how to rental property this, how to manage people. And then now I'm like talking about why I talk about money with my kids. Why I didn't get mad at my son for spilling water. Like now it's like more interesting stuff on a personal side that people are going to kind of lean in and be like, oh, what's this all about? You know?
Exactly. Now they're gonna actually know, like, and trust you too.
Yeah.
So that was
And
that was our big takeaways. Do you have anything
one thing
else?
that I'm testing out, I have a video that I came out with that is, let's just say, politically trending. I don't get like really hard one way or the other, but I just kind of allude to the fact that I don't like a certain something. And you know, Ryan himself, if you've been watching Pineda and his content, he's starting to get uh more personal about his viewpoints on different topics.
The Dems.
What Yeah, about current events, about political things, about religion, all the things that are the no topics, he's starting to lean a little bit more into, which is thought of as kind of like off limits type stuff, but pretty much gave permission to say, hey, if you want fans, raving fans, the only way to do that is to be more real of who you really are. What are the things you're saying behind closed doors? What's your real opinion on it? Share that. And the people that don't like it, they're going to go away. Those are the people that didn't really like you probably in the first place. But the people who really understand you and like you because of the way that you think, they're going to go even harder in on you and being around you and supporting you. So I'm gonna test it out, man. I'm gonna see what it's like. I don't know how far to take it because it's one of those things where it's like if I get like too honest, you know, maybe it's like, okay, that's too far, you know, but
I don't know, bro. It's
I
just how much
generally like to
bullshit do you want
be.
to put up with?
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Generally speaking, I'm when we did in high school, we did the okay, if you believe in this, move to the right. You're on the conservative side. If you believe in this, move to the left. You're on the more liberal side. I was right in the middle of the classroom, you know, right in the middle of the classroom. I'm pretty, I can't remember what you call it, but I'm pretty like just in the middle on a lot of the viewpoints. Um, so, but I think they've gotten a little bit more skewed as time's gone on the past couple of years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've made some Donald Trump content. Me just posting that picture about the US going to a digital currency
I like
got
that post. It got a lot of attention, dude.
bro, it got so many different shares. And so I need to lean more into like news to just like get it out there more. And
Yeah.
like I think close to 200 different shares just on like
Wow.
a picture that I just like screenshot. I was like, hey, what do you guys
That's all
think
it
about
was.
this shit? That's
Yeah.
all it was. And then that gave us a ton of reach. Right. And so,
Yeah.
and whenever you can get those, you got to capitalize on it. And so I think
It
I'm going to
caught
lean a
my
little bit
attention
more
right
into
away.
that. But so today, did you want to cover anything else before we start hopping into deal structures?
No, let's get into it.
So today we don't have Jason. Jason's actually at a city
He's getting his
council
hair
meeting.
done, right? He's getting his hair done.
Well, I think he got his hair done earlier, and then a limo took him to the city council meeting. But this is a good segue because Jason bought that deal and he had to structure it a certain way. It's owner financed. He bought it on a crazy good note on a low interest rate and he had to do it that way. And it had to be fast because the owner was getting harassed by the city, from what I understand, like the previous owner. And hopefully I'm not just throwing someone else's bullshit out there, but this was an actual like deal that happened. And so Jason structured it in a way to where he has it set up to where he didn't have really a ton of payments for the first like a year or something. And then his monthly note on that deal is so small, it's like nominal to him as he's finishing it out. And the dude is carrying the note for like 10 years or something. And so up until he has to refinance it, he set himself up with a great purchase. He got into it for a really, really low down payment. He had no payments for a little while. And then now, even though he does have payments, it's so nominal that he's not like worried about taking a stroke on a couple $1 million to get that deal done. And so that's what we're going to talk about as far as like deal structuring. And it can go into like, hey, well, you had to get cash for keys. You had to do a holdback with a house. Or, hey, here's how we structured some of our bigger deals just to make them work in cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'll go over our last deal that we did, this one isn't a home run deal by any means. We can really just raise the rents, and we got into it for really cheap. And this is just a storage deal. It's not like some massive multi-million-dollar big hotel deal that I'm going to retire on. But all we did, and all of you guys should be learning owner financing. I know Rudy knows it as time goes. And like, if you guys want to buy rentals without having to deal with banks, or if you guys just want to pick up good rentals, you got to learn creative financing and owner financing. So this deal, it came from a cold call. We called them. And as I'm talking to them, right, I just asked them, are you interested in carrying the note? And they said, yeah, like that's exactly what we want. We don't want to have to pay taxes. We still want the income. And so I was like, okay, great. And so we structured it in a way to where we have a 3% interest rate on it. We only had to put 10% down, and we paid them a little bit more, right? So when I wanted to, if I was going to purchase it regularly, I think we'd have to be at 350 to 400, and we paid $500,000, and that's the price that they wanted. But we got our terms. So we got a really, really low interest rate, and we got a really low down payment. We only had to pay 50 grand to get into it on a deal that's going to cash flow us several $1,000s a month. And so that is like what we're talking about, right? Nice little bit of money. We didn't have to put any money into it. We raised the money from investors. But with that, we could structure it because we knew what it was shooting off. And we do this with some of the other creative financing deals. And so we looked at it like, all right, what is our note going to be? And then we could just back it out from there. And as you guys are all getting into real estate, it's going to be amazing for you to pick up a rental sub 2, pick up a house sub 2, or even if you can pick up apartments sub 2 or owner financing, it is going to be a game changer. And a lot of these apartment complexes that are small and medium are probably going to have to go sub 2 because some people are going to be caught with their pants down. And so if you can know how to come in and structure it the right way, it is going to be a game changer for you. What are the like situations you have? I have a couple more, but I don't want to talk the whole time. Do you know?
Yeah. So I think structuring can be deal specific, but it could also be just like, what's your overall game plan for how you determine what exit strategy you're going to have. So for me and my business, we're doing mostly single family home investing right now. I'm going to be getting into more commercial stuff in the very near future, which is going to likely have a lot more creative terms because a lot of times those are bigger numbers, and the owners of those properties don't always need that cash event. And so it allows that flexibility like on your storage deal. But most of the time, like in my single family home investing, we look at it case by case. Each deal, how do we structure this deal? What makes the most sense? And like I was just talking to one of my owner financing lenders, the previous owner, today on one of the properties that we own, that we bought from him. And that was, a 6-unit deal. And we got into it with, I think, 0 down, and he's carrying the loan for 15 years, and the payment's low on it. It's $1,533 a month. And,
that's nice on a 6-unit, bro.
And we're cash flow. We're our rent on it is several $1,000s. I think it's like around $3,000 or something like that. So from a cash flow standpoint, we got into the deal for nothing basically. And he got the price that he wanted. And I take that back. We actually put $10,000 down. We put $10,000 down. That's what we did. And the rest of it, he got the price that he wanted. And he's just happy getting the mailbox money. Like he didn't need the cash then. He didn't want the tax event then. So he's getting his money over time, and it works out for both of us. But I like to think even of how you structure a deal, even a little bit more simply to how do I determine what to do? How do I determine whether I wholesale it? How do I determine whether I flip it? Or you have some other little niche things like wholetailing or sub 2, owner financing, or, buying it as a rental and getting creative there. And I always like to think like, where are you at financially? That usually determines what decision. And then after that, it's what level of risk do I want to take on? What level of risk does this deal bring? Is it a deal where it makes more sense for me to take the cash I can get now by wholesaling it or wholetailing it? Or does it make more sense because it's an easy deal to finish out flipping it? Or is it a little bit more involved and it's going to take too much bandwidth, add more risk, and I don't want to take it on? I'm going to wholesale it. So we've got several deals right now. Like we just a couple of weeks ago wholesaled a deal for $100,000. And could we have flipped it and made some more money? What's that?
Light work.
Light work. Could we have wholesaled it and made some more money? I'm sorry, flipped it and made some more money. Yeah, but it was not our bread and butter. It wasn't as close to home as we would have liked. And it was a great project for someone else. So it was an opportunity for them. And we had a great deal and wanted to make that deal be finalized then. We got a couple flips right now, like I just signed closing documents today on a flip that should close this Friday or Monday that we'll make $120,000 on. And it was a flip that we spent $30,000 doing the remodel, put new floors, put new countertops. We painted the cabinets, painted the inside and outside, did a little bit of landscaping, and it sold super fast, over asking price. I've talked about it before, I think. But I mean, that one was one where we could have wholesaled it and made maybe 30, but we flipped it and made 120. And part of that was because the market had come back really strong. And at the price point and the size of the lot, it sold really well. Sold over asking price, 30,000 over asking price. So that's a good example. We got another $111,000 net profit flip deal. We could have flipped it and made maybe $20,000, but we did the project. We had the bandwidth to do it. We had the resources to do it. It took $100,000 to do that flip. It was like a full down to the studs.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Rebuild the house, but it was in our backyard. It was in Visalia. It's where we were like, you know what? Let's do it. If it was further away from us, it would have been probably too much. But based on the time, we realized, we did the math, we'll make significantly more if we do the flip. So let's do it. And we're making 111 on it, and using none of our own money. We borrowed all of the purchase price, all of the rehab money. And so, I mean, those are like free deals.
Well, and guys, the one thing you got to understand is every deal is not a wholesale deal. At the beginning, we stick with one thing and we know it. But every situation is not just a 100%, we have to wholesale this, right? And as you grow, creative financing is going to help you out a lot, because like if it's a no equity deal, we can't help that person anyways. And so we need to be able to offer them something. Or if it's a 100% equity deal or even a mix, we need to be able to offer them something, right? And so as you grow, you can be like, okay, well, do you want to carry the note and I'll just buy it sub 2 and I'll wrap it and I'll pay you that way? That one gets a little bit dicier if you're going to sell that, but you could take that down as a rental too, right? And so when we're talking about structuring these things, it goes into learning. And I mean, we could talk about like learning these different avenues forever, but then knowing the best situation for that homeowner, property owner, whatever, to help them solve their problems.
So I just got done interviewing Corey Geary. For those of you that know him, he's got a course called Novation Nation, and he teaches people how to do novations. Dude, I mean, when he talks about novations, he was basically saying his wholesaling business was failing. He went nationwide. He was in Arizona wholesaling. He went nationwide wholesaling, and he didn't have the relationships with buyers. He didn't know the numbers well enough in the market. So he wasn't prepared to actually dispo the properties and get them sold. So he said he would close 1 out of 5 deals. And like the fallout rate was just so big that his business was failing and not looking good. And then he at a mastermind heard about novations, changed his whole business around, and did, now 8 out of 10 deals would be a novation. So I think that's important to understand what your strengths are and understanding what, based on this situation with this property, with the seller of the property, and based on where you're at financially and what makes the best exit strategy for you based on, risk and all that kind of stuff. What's the best strategy for this deal? And I think if you can equip yourself with the different strategies and be prepared to choose rather than just like you said, Stratton, rather than just being able to wholesale a deal, you might miss out on so much more profit. A perfect example, a deal we got under contract last week. My partner Lewis and I called each other on Monday and said, what do we want to do with this deal? Do we want to wholesale it or flip it? We went to our deal analyzer. We typed it into the wholesale. We can make $45,000. A great deal, a really good deal. $45,000 is a lot of money for a wholesale deal, let alone any deal. Then we plug it in into if we were to flip it, and it says we'll make $90,000, literally double. We're like, well, let's flip it then. Like, it's an easy deal. Let's flip it. And I think by being able to be prepared for different scenarios and find what works best for you is going to ultimately put you in the best position to have the most success.
Oh yeah, and I am in. This isn't a popular opinion, but I tell you not to start buying rentals. I tell you start stacking cash first, like because you can make decisions
100%.
so much more confidently. If like, yeah, well, I'm trying to buy rentals, bro. If you get a good deal and you can make a rip on it, your life will just be better because you have more confidence. You feel more secure. You're
Yes.
just more cash flush. Like we're probably going to lock up another one here, and I'm more than likely just going to wholesale it. And it'll be like a really, really big rip on a wholesale as to compared if I kept it. And
Yeah.
this is like a commercial deal.
Quick shout out to Matt Andrews, and I want to come back to that. Matt Andrews says he loves this. We love you, Matt.
We love you, Matt.
You're the ringleader. Just came back from the family mastermind 2 weeks ago. I'm still like buzzing from that. For those of you that don't know Matt that's watching this, he runs a mastermind with like the biggest hitters in the nation. Stratton and I are fortunate enough to both be in it, and very thankful. So yeah, love you too, Matt. But dude, I think that's really important. I agree with you that some people will say, no, you have to keep everything. And that's not wrong. The best way to build wealth is through holding without question. It's where you get all the tax benefits. It's where you get the
spend equity. You can't
equity
spend net worth. You
appreciation,
can't
but you
spend
can bend.
equity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more that when I first got started, if I bought a rental, it would have not helped me one bit
At all.
Not even close.
Whatsoever.
And by the way, if an AC would have gone out, I would have been effed because I wouldn't have had enough money to replace an AC. You know what I mean? So I needed to focus on putting cash in the bank. So I was able to do anything. And not to mention the fact of confidence. Like, dude, when you're first getting started, you need to have that proof of concept of, yeah, this is real. I know how to make money. And then after that, it's like stacking those small wins on each other to build up your skill set and your confidence so that you can start taking on more deals. When you are shaking hands, building relationships, you're bringing something more to the table. Like you got to get that cash in the bank to start making moves.
Well, like how much, and so we need to interview Caleb Marty on here. We'll eventually get him on, but Caleb owns like a $40-50 million portfolio with no partners. Like that is his portfolio.
That's wild.
And he's done that all through trading up and just throwing stuff in. So then I'm thinking like, okay, so we raise money on some, but then we got to stack cash, throw a fat down payment on the next one, right? Then it's all ours. I don't need to worry about anything else because I'm good at finding good deals and negotiating good deals. And so that return on that, even though it's not infinite, is still going to be amazing. Right. And then you can keep raising money on other ones. And okay, you know what? We stacked a little bit of cash. Let's throw it in. And it is all dependent on what are you trying to accomplish.
So here's a good question we can mix into what we're talking about right now, which is, do you have a team of partners you work with on all your deals? For me, in my single family investing business, I have one business partner, and then we have employees on the team. So me and my partner, Lewis, we've been partners for about 6-7 years now. And we dated each other for the first year and a half doing flips together, and it organically turned into a partnership. So for us, I'm a big believer in partnerships. you're going to get mixed bag of opinions on this one. I'm a huge believer in partners, probably because my partnership has gone so well with really my main partner on all my business ventures, because we just mesh so well. And I think it's because we're not trying to outdo one another. We genuinely are just like driven, trying to win. We have never pointed fingers. And by the way, we have both made mistakes that we could say it was your fault. It was clearly your fault, but never once have we pointed fingers at each other and brought drama to the relationship. We've never fought with each other. I've heard him a couple times had his voice sound a little bit annoyed of me a couple times, but we've never raised our voices, never done any of that. And I think that's why we've had such an amazing partnership. And I can only imagine we're going to be partners for life in like multiple other businesses. I don't see us quote unquote parting ways and changing the direction. Like we sync so well. So, but talk about your strat, because I think when you get into the bigger deals, again, the single family investing is a little bit more simple, but the bigger commercial deals, in a lot of cases, you have to bring in partners or structure it a little bit different to make it happen.
So, and I think legitimately all of the businesses that I own, I have a partner in some way or form. And I hate partnerships. And I will preface this with like, I hate partnerships unless there are really, really predefined roles. I think if you are just starting, there's no need for you to have a partnership because you need to learn the skills anyways. Like you need to learn both sides of it and just get good at it. But if you're starting with you and your buddy, cool. But generally it's not going to work out and you guys are friends because you're the same. And so that's just not going to go well. And as you grow on the business side, now I've learned to where I'm making enough money in certain ways to where I don't need a partner to replace the operational side. I can just pay for that. And instead of giving up 50% equity, I can just give up a certain amount of money every month. And then my upside is significantly larger. Maybe at the beginning, when you don't have as much money, a partner may make sense. When you have a little bit more money and you can hire that out, doesn't really quite make as much sense. And then for our bigger commercial stuff, 100%, bro. We have in the Susanville deal, it is me, Kyle, and Kalani who are the general partners. Kyle helped raise the money. Kalani operates, and I helped raise the money, and my company found it. Right. And so like we all had a different role. And then when there's a big enough, can you hear that fucking blower in the background?
A little bit. It's not crazy though.
Okay. As you get into the bigger deals, you'll see that, I mean, some of these hedge funds, bro, there's 6 partners. And as there's more and more like to go around, it's not the end of the world. You're not trying to like split a flip between 6 different ways. Right. To where if you're trying to split like $30,000 3 different ways, you're kissing your sister. It's just not quite as fun. To where that's where you got to be cognizant of it. But on these deals where we got a couple $1 million worth of equity to deal with, hell yeah, like let's do it. There's enough room to do so. Even on these really big syndication deals, who are the 2 dudes we were talking to who are doing multifamily out of Vegas? They played college. One of them played college.
Okay. Yeah. Quentin Mack and D'Amico.
Yeah. You're so good with names, bro. But so
I've impressed myself a little bit because I feel like I'm usually bad with names. But
I mean, but bro, we talked to them for an hour. I should have known their name. Yeah. But there's them. They're a partner. There's the money raising team. There's like 3 partners there. There's the operating team. There's another 3 partners there. And then there's the loan sponsor who's 1 to 2 people. So like in any like multifamily deal that's above like 10 million, like it can get really, really crowded per se with a team members who all want equity and they deserve equity and partners. Right. And so like you got to know what your unique ability is. And I was telling my students this, go get the book Unique Ability 2.0. Like know what you're good at. And so that way, if you are going to go pick a partner, you can know what you need help with. I have no business working with another Stratton Brown because nothing will get done. Right? Like nothing operationally will get done. Like I'm a salesman, I'm a marketer, I'm a vision guy. But as far as like diving deep like Dino and like integrating stuff, I can do it, but it feels really, really heavy to me.
Right.
And so even with the storage stuff, my significant other is my partner in that. She's the operator. I'm in the other deal that we're buying, but I'm the one who raised the money. I'm the one who's selling them. right? And then if I need to step in on some other stuff, I can. But like that's my role, and then she has her role. But they're very two defined and aligned skill sets. Like we know what we're good at, and then I can go find a partner. But I mean, partners are kind of what you have to do at the beginning. But if you don't like them and you don't like them and you make enough money, I think you shouldn't. I know some really successful people who don't have any, and they've done massive, massive things. Like Bobby Castro, no partners, him and his wife, $750 million
Yeah, that's crazy.
in real estate.
That's crazy. Got another question here. How to find these apartments? What kind of folks go for subject to?
If you're
My
gonna buy
opinions.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, my opinion is there's two type of people. There's the people that are in not need of money, or they're in a financial bind, right? So if they're not in need of money, they recognize that the money, the debt that's in place is an asset to the deal, and it makes sense only if that money stays in place. For instance, right now, the market that we're in right now, I can't remember what percentage. It's some super high percentage of homes that have a mortgage below 5%. And then a very large percentage that is, below 4, which is pretty crazy. And interest rates now in the 6s and 7s, if you're doing secondary market investor loans, even as high as in the 8s, then to take down a property and secure that debt in the 3s or 4s or the 5s, that's an asset to the deal.
There's some 2s out there.
Well, I know. I almost didn't want to say it, but there's a couple 2s. I met a guy this past weekend who's got his mortgage at 2.8. My brother-in-law's at 2.3. I have not heard a lower rate than 2.3. He got it at like the best day. But I would say in those situations, if they don't need to get out of that debt and you can structure the deal where you keep it in place, then obviously that's a win-win. If they're in a financial bind and really they don't have any other choice, and you're their best option that puts little to no money in their pocket, or in some cases, maybe a chunk, if it makes sense for everybody, then they'll be more likely to do it. They just want to get out of the situation. So those are the two just high-level general situations you'll find them in. So I think whether it's a single family house or an apartment, you're going to find those same scenarios. You'll find people in the financial distress as well. They have apartments, probably especially now, because there's a lot of people that had debt in place that needs to refinance, and now they got to refinance it. So in that case, you wouldn't be able to keep the debt in place because they got to refinance. But
you'll get a crazy good deal on it. On somebody, it'd be harder to buy an apartment complex sub 2, unless there's like some type of crazy situation. But you'll be able to get some pre foreclosures at some crazy good rate as far as pennies on the dollar, because like they just got to offload the debt. I know a dude who's a broker up in Seattle, $100 million construction loan. It's at the trustees table, and there's like $30 million that needs to be paid off, and so someone's going to come in and pluck off that deal, right? And so those things still happen, because there's still, you'd be amazed at the amount of people who walk away from some stuff and they really shouldn't, or maybe they just screw up a deal and they don't know what they're doing. They underwrote it the wrong way. They thought they were going to get a certain rate and now they don't. To where you're not going to, let's say, buy it sub 2, but you're going to get that thing cheap. And then that's when I would really bring in partners, because if you're not cash heavy, you're going to need to have some type of partner to come in there and just take it with you. I've explored giving up like a ton of equity just to make a deal happen and then just move on, because you're always going to do more deals. Right. Like you're always going to do more deals. You're not going to retire on one deal. Yes, you'll have some of those like just home run deals that you're like, bro, I did this, listen to these numbers. But a lot of the times, bro, like if we can just get in and get it done and you're good at identifying them, just move on to the next, learn your lesson on how to operate it, and then get better at raising cash.
Yeah.
Who we got in here? Eduardo said Dan Merrill. Dan's a G. And then thank you for answering the partners. Of course. Hell yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? We will give you 30 seconds
Yeah, fire off some questions if you guys got them. Otherwise, we're going to bring on
And
our
then we're gonna
special guest
go
today.
talk about the biggest single family deal I have ever heard of as far as a wholesale.
It's the biggest one we've had on the podcast so far.
I've heard of some big land ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard of this on something like this on a house.
This is a big one.
All right, bro. Well, let's get it pulled up.
Let's do it. So let's go ahead and welcome our guest here, Mr. Rudy Barrera. What's up, Rudy?
Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. And thanks for sharing all that good content that you guys share, man. Hell yeah.
Awesome, man. Of course. Thank
bro.
you. Why don't you take a second, Rudy? Why don't you tell us where you're coming from, who you are, what you're about, what type of investing you do, and then we'll dive into the deal you got.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I actually live in Hanford, right? So for those of you who don't know, I'm just south of Fresno. You know, I always tell folks, well, here recently, I say I'm new to the wholesaling game. I say that I've been doing it for about 4 years, but I'm going to tell you what, guys, I'm going to tell on myself. I think the last 3.5 years, I've just kind of been dabbling in it, just kind of like been treating it like a hobby. No lie. It wasn't until this year that I said, you know what? I said, obviously this shit is real. I said, let's go, let's make it happen. You know, folk. Yeah. But, I'll get more into that in just a second. But again, I'm fairly new, still learning, right? I obviously follow, you know, you guys. I follow Jason. All that is so helpful. We have plenty of players here in our own backyard that are willing to help out, and I absolutely am extremely grateful, just like a lot of the listeners out there. So again, fairly new, learning stuff every single day, and it wasn't until this year that I said, hey, let's make this shit happen. I am a solopreneur, been doing it by myself. I actually partnered up. I don't know if you saw Eduardo earlier. Him and I JV'd on a shitload of deals here recently, branched off. And I said, you know what? It was just always him and I. So yeah, I'm rolling solo, but first quarter has been amazing, man. Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
What was the switch, bro? Sorry, I know we want to talk about the deal. Like, what made that switch? Because a lot of people
Wait a
need
second.
to figure
Quick
out
shout
that
out from Manchester, England. Let's freaking go.
Let's
the
go.
motherland for me. I'm like 60% English and 40% German. Didn't even know I had an ounce of German, even though my mom is clearly German. All my dad did growing up was talk about England. So I thought I was like 99% English, but heck yeah. Shout out from Manchester, England.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What made the switch? Because so many people take it as a part-time thing, and they just don't take it serious and act like a consummate professional.
Which
Absolutely.
is a good part. You could tie this in, Rudy, and maybe Stratton and I can chime in too, where you can learn more for a newbie. So yeah, what was that big switch? Like, what made you actually say, all right, I got to take this serious?
Well, here's the deal. The hard part for me has been that I mean, I'm technically retired from my previous profession. So I mean, I could literally, right, I was doing one of these, like, you know what, let me check out this wholesaling deal. You know, I did that just about a year before I retired. And I actually connected with, you know, a good friend of mine. He was my very first mentor, John Bustamante. He said, come on over, Junior. Let me show you a few things.
John's awesome.
And yeah, I mean, John's amazing. And I got to see that, damn, this shit is real, right? I mean, this did our first flip and then a couple of wholesale deals, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, all right, this is real. Retired. And I think for a while there, and still now, health is the most important thing, man. I mean, you know, we could talk about money all day long. Love it. I mean, yeah, we can discuss that in a minute, but health, health, health. So I told myself, I never want to put myself in a position. I've been blessed. I retired at 50. My health is great. And I said, I just don't want to put stress on myself, you know, just to go out and get a few more deals. Learning the wholesale concept, I always tell folks, the concept is easy. Go out, find a distressed property, talk to a homeowner, negotiate, put it under contract, sell it to an end buyer, done deal. But if you want to make some serious money, it takes some grind, man. We know that. It's just you got to put in some work. So I think I did a handful of those, you know, got some rentals, some Airbnbs, and, you know, did wholesale flips, did all that. And I think I just thought I lost a little bit of sleep during the actual a couple of homes that I flipped, and I'm just like, yo, this is keeping me up at night, man. You know, and again, like folks that actually do some serious flipping, I was like, man, I don't know how y'all do it. You know, especially doing multiple flips and. Yeah, so I said, okay, maybe I'm not a flipper, although I am reconsidering. But at the time, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so I really think it's the competitive side of me that said, yo, I'm seeing all these other, and nothing against the newbies. They're coming in. I'm like, man, they're kicking some ass. They are doing they're running some big numbers. So I said, yo, I got to get me some of this, man. Let's go. I said, I know I could do it. I've helped quite a few people that maybe needed help closing the deals, and I JV with a lot of folks, man, saying, yo, I need help closing deals. I'm out here helping a lot of folks, and I'm just thinking, you know what, I have a lot of folks saying, bro, you need to turn it up, man. You got something there. Let's go. So I said, you know what, I'm convinced. Let's make this shit happen. So yeah, I would say October, November, towards the end of last year, I just kind of said, you know what, starting 2023, I'm going to go ahead and do this, man. So yeah, maybe the competitive side of me, but I really knew that there's money to be made. And again, the more I make, the more I could help. Absolutely love it, man.
And well, how many deals have you
awesome.
done this year so far, bro? You've been on fire.
Yeah, I mean, this year, here's the deal. I mean, first quarter has been amazing, but it was primarily because we had a couple of large deals, but we've only done 6-7 deals this quarter, but they were small. We just missed out, and this was in December. Eduardo and I, we had closed that when there was 96K. We were so close, man, hitting that 100K for that was a wholesale deal. That was one in Fresno. So yeah, but again, first quarter has been amazing, man. It's been really good. But this deal we're going to discuss right here, of course, gave me a big boost, man.
Where going back to this question here, where do you think people should get started? Where can people learn more if they're a newbie about wholesaling?
You know, I personally think, and I was just talking to a friend the other day. I mean, obviously, it depends on how serious are you taking it, man. Everything, I would say 99.9% of it is all on damn YouTube. I could pull up those binders there, man, right? We all went to YouTube University, and I got 6 months worth of, and I got stuck in that analysis paralysis, right? But everything, just about everything you need is in YouTube, or you can do the fast track and find someone like you guys that's already doing deals, that knows the business, and I always tell folks, go and JV with somebody that already knows the business. You're going to get so much further, so much faster. So yeah, if you're a newbie, and I would say, I always tell folks that hit me up, at least have an idea of, what it is that you're talking. Because sometimes I have folks, hey man, I love it. I love your post. Hey, I want in. Great. What do you know? Oh, I don't know nothing, man. Like, what is this? What is wholesaling? And it's like, hey, I'll take a few minutes to kind of shoot a couple of YouTube videos your way. But for the most part, look it up. What is wholesaling? What is it that you want to do? And then approach someone like you guys and say, hey man, I'm interested. What do you got? How can I help? And for sure, I think that's a good way heck of a way to start.
Well, I mean, bro, you went and worked for Pace for free for a little bit. You even joined SubTube, like you paid to get a mentor. Then you went and worked for someone for free after you paid him. You paid him to work for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like, okay, now I've learned it. Now I get the ropes. And then we always see you at the meetups and you're constantly learning.
I didn't know that. That's a cool story.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually had an opportunity to go out there for Pace and work in his acquisition team. So he
That's
had a couple
awesome,
of,
dude.
yeah, he had a couple of sharp Nick and Tino that were part of his acquisition team. So I rolled out there for about a week, kind of learned from them, and I'm like, yo, I could do this shit, man. I know I could. And again, just getting help from folks, man, reaching out, not being shy about it, and messing up here and there, but man, it's all good. So absolutely, if you got a couple of bucks and you can join a mentorship, get some coaching, that's definitely encouraged, man. But again, I say do your own homework, come in with an understanding of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, if you're getting started, you got to take the initiative to go seek out the information. Like you said, Rudy, it's almost all on YouTube, almost anything that is being taught by somebody that is effective and works is on YouTube. Now, obviously, if you hire a coach or mentor, join a coaching program, what you get is not only what specifically they're doing to be successful, but you get that additional support from that person That's where the value is in a coaching program. If I wanted to just learn myself, I could go to YouTube, but then I'm going to have all these questions, right? And that's where that coach or that mentor really helps you get past those little hurdles and the big hurdles to really propel you and accelerate your learning. And that's what happens. You can get lost in YouTube. You really can. But
oh yeah, bro, it's not
if you
organized.
it's super unorganized. One person might profess, that
One
this
way's
is the
better
right
than
way to
another.
do it.
Yeah.
And then you get the conflicting information over here. That's where it can get really tough and you can get lost in YouTube. But if you're trying to get started, you're trying to get some traction, you gotta take the action and start learning, getting familiar.
Well, and you get to borrow their belief and their mindset and their mentality and all of their years of experience, right? Like their belief as far as like, no, this is easy. It rubs off on you. Like their mentality of like, no, like we're going out to make this much money, especially if you're new to the game. You're talking to someone who's like goals to make millions of dollars a year and you're coming in from making a 9 to 5, maybe you're under 6 figures, right? And then you see how that person thinks and you're exposed to it. And once you hear it once, you cannot unhear it. Like once you hear that someone's doing 6-figure deals, you can't unhear that.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking like, whoa, man, how can I do that? How do we get into those? And like, so now your life and your paradigm completely shifts as you start to surround yourself with people who are doing new things.
Well, dude, it's the same for my team is true. I like to consider myself Mr. Consistent. Like I've just been hitting base hits, doubles, not a lot of home runs. I mean, just honestly, that's not really been my thing. And part of me is wanting those home runs. I mean, who doesn't? But just Mr. Consistent. But really just in the past year and a half, 2 years, we're hitting home runs. We've got a whale club at our company now because our team has not only closed $100,000 6-figure deals, but more than one. And now it's like, okay, cool. We've got two acquisitions on our team that have or are about to close a couple 6-figure deals each. Like that changes everything. And I think that message you said is so important, Stratton, that like by taking the initiative to hear it, see others having the reality that it can be done and thinking and believing bigger is part of that initial part. So I think it was Pamela when I went and checked on my phone who asked that question, where can I learn more? That's where you start. Speaking of believing and thinking bigger, what a better segue than to talk about Rudy's deal here. This got me fired up. I didn't look at all the notes until 5 minutes before we started when I put the slide together. But Stratton and I were like, hot damn, this is a deal right here to talk about. So let's go ahead and bring it up here, Rudy. Let's start talking about it. This was a wholesale deal, and it came from a Facebook ad in Huntsville, North Carolina. If you didn't catch earlier, Rudy lives in Central California. He doesn't live in Huntsville, North Carolina. And I bet you'll tell us in a second that you probably didn't even see this house. Okay. Nope. You got this property under contract for $102,000. You sent it out and got it wholesaled at a sales price of $244,000. If you can do math, that's a profit of $142,000. That is some serious money there, guys. And if you look at the numbers, this wasn't $1 million house to make $142,000.
Right, bro. That's a low ass priced house.
This is below the median price point in the nation. That's crazy. So the story was inbound lead. I'll let you tell the story, even though we got it up on the screen. I'll let you tell the story, Rudy. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. So I recently this year, again, from having some experience in wholesaling, and it gave me the opportunity to build some capital. I said, you know what? I think if I'm doing the solo, I think the route I want to take is I want to deal with some sort of inbound leads. I want to go PPC. I want to go So I said, you know what? I found one of our partners that actually runs Facebook ads. So I said, I think that's the route I'm going to take. Of course, it's a little pricey, right? It's a little pricey, but I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. Since I'm doing this on my own, all I need is leads coming my way, man. That's all I need. Give me some leads and I'll close them up on my own. So yeah, this was like week number gosh, week number 2, number 3, I don't know. It was like the 13th, 14th lead that came in. And man, this lead came through and we're getting all our notifications, getting texts. And there was 2 that came in within a minute, man. One lead came in, bam, I saw motivation, moving closer to family or something like that. I was getting ready to dial, right? We're dialing as soon as they come in. And then I saw this one that said pre-foreclosure. And I said, switch. And boom, I was on it right away, man. So I start talking to the lead and, hearing her pain. Of course,
That's key right there. Real quick. That was fate. That was destiny. That's crazy. You had 2 leads right at the same time, and you saw that one, and your eyes said, "I'm calling this one." If you didn't call that one, you might have never had this deal.
Oh my
You would have never gotten it, bro.
Right.
You would have called someone else right away.
And that's the thing with these folks that fill out, the landing page or whatever to get for the PPC. It's like, you're not the only one they're calling, buddy. They filled in out yours and yours and yours. So you got to be quick, man, and make something happen. And I'll share something about what I did on this one, because the very first lead that came through, the Facebook lead that came through, I dropped the ball, and I'll come back to that in a second. So this one here, I made sure that, started talking to her, started talking about the foreclosure, and I could hear the pain in her voice. I could hear how stressed out she was. She's just like, I'm done. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my house, and typically when I, whether it's door knocking or if I'm dealing with any type of pre-foreclosure, I always want to hear, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to stay in the house? I know you guys talked about, the creative route earlier. And so I'm just kind of seeing, trying to get a feel where you're at. She was pretty much saying, yo, if I can just get some money in my pocket, although she did throw kind of a higher price initially, once we kind of got into the pain and we got into the whole speed and convenience deal, I just kind of offered her half, and then found out more about the property, the condition. Then I came a little bit lower. And while I was talking to her though, man, I was running my numbers and I'm like, holy shit. Oh, fucking yeah. So we started talking, and I'm like, bro, this is the deal. And I'm listening to her. And at the same time, I'm already typing up the contract. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to town. It was ready to go. And so once,
guys, you might not have heard that clear enough. Okay. You got to be prepared to take action. Rudy did not mess around. I have done this exact same thing. I'm on the phone, having the conversation, building the rapport, going into the motivation, and uncovering more stuff, building the trust while I'm doing my research, while I'm pulling up the contract. So that is like a super pro move. And if you didn't do that in that kind of way, again, time might have killed the deal. Right? If you just kind of fumbled around with it, I'll do my research tomorrow and get back to you. I'll send the contract the next day. This might not have happened.
For sure. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. So by the time it was all said and done, I mean, I was just looking at the numbers and I said, bro, I ain't even tripping on condition, to be honest with you. But we got into it. Yes. By the time, if I can get approval, blah, 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 put her on hold real quick, came back, got approval. Check your email. And I mean, no lie, probably 40 minutes or so, she was signing the contract. I got the DocuSign and I'm like, holy crap. Tell me. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. After it was all said and done, I had to check my numbers twice. I'm like, is this shit there? Yeah. So
did you have butterflies going on?
Oh yeah, bro. I lost a little sleep that night because I'm just like, nah, bro. I was about to get out of bed.
Well, it's too good to be true. You don't want to jinx yourself. Oh yeah.
Right. Wild. Yeah, so all that shit happened, and I'm just like, you know what? No problem. I reached out to a couple of partners over there that were familiar with the area, and they said, you're golden, bro. Those are the numbers. Those are legit. And yeah, man. So that's the part about locking it up. Again, I have a couple of buddies on that end, and this guy actually said, bro, I'll buy that off of you. And I'm like, we had agreed on price. Some things happened within a few days, and he called back and said, bro, I can't be there anymore, man. I got to be a little bit lower, And again, he's a buddy of mine. I get it. Here's the deal though, guys. This is what was running through my head. I'm just like, not that I wanted to be smart about it. And I'm thinking, dude, I can get so much more. I even considered, I said, you know what? I'm just going to close on it. I'm going to flip it. It actually turned into, it could have been a lipstick flip. It was minor, but I'm just like, I was so scared of actually losing the deal. I said, those are big numbers. Why am I going to do this? Anything over 6 figures for a wholesale deal. It's like, man, stop messing around. Get this shit, get paid, be done with it. So, soon as my buddy said, hey, you know what, bro, it's not going to work out. I need to be here. And I said, man, he said, tell you what, he was really cool about it. He said, go out there, see if you can get more. If not, this is where I'm at. You have me. I'm your buyer. And I said, cool, no problem. So I even considered, I said, you know what, I'm going to close on it. I'm just going to slap it on the MLS, man. I said, I'll slap it on the MLS. It'll be mine. Why not? But before I did, I said, let me just give Investor Lift a shot. So I forget where him and I were, but what I did is I just threw an extra 20, 30 and Investor Lift, man. I tell you what, I got a buyer. I actually got 4 interested folks. One of them gave me 4K over what I was asking. And he said, hey, let's get this shit in writing, man. So that was quick. It was easy and it was good. So we double closed on it, man. And yeah, when that wired hit, I'm like, okay, this shit's real. Let's go.
So why'd you double close? Just because you knew you couldn't do an assignment? Like it's way too big.
Right. I just didn't want. I had actually asked the attorney's office over there. I said, "Is this the seller going to be able to see that?" Yeah. Well, they're going to have access to it. She even said, she's like, "You might want to double close on this."
So it was an attorney state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the attorney's like, yeah, bro, double close that bitch.
Yeah, it was a paralegal. She just said, hey, yeah, on something like this, she goes, it's pretty common. They were really good about it. She just says, yeah, absolutely. You double close. No problem. So, man, yeah. And the only thing that just kind of spooked me again, we had she needed some time to move out. She had a lot of shit in her house, man. And she asked for an extension. She goes, I really need another. And I was working with her, man. I wanted to help her. I did, aside from, part of something I was hesitant to share. And, I've only told a couple of folks. I actually initially locked this up for 96,000. Okay. But then in talking to her, wanting to help her, I actually gave her an additional 6,000-7,000 to help her out with some other shit, helped her out with some moving expenses on the side. But I'm just, man, I tell you what, bro, I love this job. I mean, I know we all want to go big numbers. It's business, but I just said, man, I struggled with it, bro. And I'm just thinking, you know what, I gotta put a little more money in your pocket, man. And so I just told her, I said, hey, Mrs. Seller, I said, hey, I'm going to talk to the team. I'm going to see what I can do about getting you more money. And she's like, oh, really? It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, and again, I was hesitant on sharing that, just kind of like, again, just even sharing numbers in general, I was kind of like hesitant. But I know it's like, hearing success stories like this helps a lot of folks out there. You know what I'm saying? It encourages them.
Yeah, it creates belief.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I appreciate whenever I hear success stories and I'm like, yo, went to an event in San Antonio just from hearing a lot of folks, and I'm talking about big names and saying, and I hear people say it often, bro, if I could do this shit, you could do it. I mean, I'm nobody different. I put in the work, but you could do, so I appreciate that. I like it. So I said, you know what, I'll definitely share this story. I'm good, but I did manage to do that. So the numbers could have been bigger, but I felt good and it felt right about what I did and what I was doing, man. So in the end, everything worked out, man. It was good.
No question.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be stuff like that comes up in the deal. And you, like you said, you could get caught up in like, no, this is the number we agreed on, but it's a good deal. You got to do what's right. You got to do what makes sense. And what's going to keep that good karma going. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely. But, yeah, man. So again, I'm fairly new to the whole, PPC deal. I've always bought in those, those ones from iSpeed, which I love, the a la carte ones. But this one here, I said, hey, let me check it out. So, and, I've heard, hey, the algorithm, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So that's kind of what I'm experiencing. But in the beginning, yeah, I mean, it was really good to me. But I want to circle back to what I was going to say. The reason why, and I've heard this before, guys, right? People say, hey, man, you gotta lock it up while you have them on the phone. You want to do that. You want to do that. I've heard it and heard it. Didn't always practice it. Well, the very first lead that came through on this, one of my Facebook leads, yo, if this lady wasn't ready to go, man, she was ready to go. It was going to be a hybrid deal. It was going to be a creative deal. And I actually had an appointment at church and I had to leave, but she's just like, yes, that sounds amazing. No one's offered me that before. And I said, great, Mrs. Seller, you know what? I'm going to get right back to you. And long story short, I came back 2.5 hours later. No, she wasn't answering.
Never heard from her again,
She
bro.
started ghosting me, bro. Ghosting me, calling her from different numbers, triple dialing, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until like the third day. And she said, hey, someone else offered me the same thing you did, but they gave me an extra $10,000, you know? And I'm just like, I just know if I would have said, check your email, boom.
Yep.
But again, that's why I'm really glad. And again, lesson learned, but now coming and encountering this deal right here, man, I said, you ain't getting away this time. So again, that's something I've implemented, you know, over the last couple of deals. So I have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really a good thing to echo is when I was running acquisitions, you can tell when you're on the phone with the seller, if they're ready to take action. You've spent a good amount of time on the phone, getting through all the information and gathering all the puzzle pieces, and you know they're ready to take action. You gotta take action. You gotta do it. Because if you let time pass, they're gonna talk to someone else, they're gonna call a family member, they're gonna sleep on it and wake up feeling different. But if you close on it, then they're gonna feel that relief. And if you've done a good enough job to, you know, disarm them on any sort of seller's remorse type of things, right? And you're starting to talk about the future. What are the next steps? And give them confidence on what's going to happen next. That's where the magic can happen, and you can really get those first call deals done. So yeah, I think that's a really important thing. I want to touch on this question right here. This is a question to ask about a deal. So how is a $35,000 margin over a $240,000 investment on a flip with 4 months total time? How would you rate it? Good, bad, average, very good? It's all cash
right now.
No loan.
No, I look at everything in that analyzer. So he's going to put 240 into it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's
what's he
over
going to
a
sell it at?
10% ROI. Yeah, I don't know about what he's going to sell it at, but all in for 240, and he's making 35.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not a home run. I'd say it's between average and good. It also depends on what market you're in. You know, are you in a highly competitive market where it's really hard to find deals? Now I know you happen to be in Fresno, so that's easy for me to know the answer to that. But for
That's still
someone
a deal,
else,
bro. You're making a 15% return if you're using like a hard money loan.
it's an all cash deal.
Right. So, bro, you're gonna collect another $5,000 in points and shit, $6,000 in points and stuff, and holding cost. And
Yeah.
so, like, bro, I mean, that's a deal. Like, if I'm selling that, I'm selling that all day.
Yeah. Now the 240 total investment, it's got to have the context of, is that a all in, you bought it for 210 and you got $30,000 worth of repairs, or you buying it for 100 and you got to like build a whole new house and it's costing 140 to do it. Obviously with that little context, it could change if that makes sense. If it's a big project, I'd say the margin needs a little bit more. If it's an easy project, bread and butter, I'd say it's a good deal. It's a solid deal.
Yeah. And when he says bad project, like if you look at it, you're like, oh, this isn't that bad, then like you're probably good. But if you look at it and it's a hoarder house and you think it's fucked, then we need to reevaluate our rehab costs too. And Dean's done a lot more flips than I have. But like that would be the first thing I would like have as a red flag if you are just getting started. Like, oh yeah, it's not really going to be that bad on a rehab. I'd always allocate extra funds towards that because I'd rather be finishing.
I guessed right. I guessed right. So second deal, and then just getting started, all in 210 plus 30K repairs. So that's a solid deal.
But I think it's a solid deal.
30K repairs, if those are solid numbers. Again, it's your second deal. So how sure are you that it's 30,000? I know what a $30,000 rehab is. So I double check that. Take the time. It's better to do no deal than a bad deal. So take the extra time. You've gotten our opinion. I think it's a solid deal.
Say that again, though. It's better to do no deal than a bad deal.
Better to do no deal than a bad deal. I have done bad deals because I needed to do the deal. When you need to do a deal, you're going to do bad deals. You're going to justify why you need to do that deal. Oh, we could sell it for a little bit more. We could probably do a little bit less repair costs. And now you get caught with your pants down with these fake numbers you made up to try to make that deal happen. And now you're losing money or making no money, or you wasted your time making very little money, ideally. But I have lost serious money by trying to make a deal happen. It would have been better if I didn't do it. But yes, this looks like a solid deal. Make sure those repair costs are good. All cash gives you a lot less pressure, a whole lot less pressure. When you're borrowing money and you're on your second deal, there's a lot more added pressure there because you're using other people's money and putting it at risk or at work, however you want to define it. And you need to be a little bit more confident, but yeah.
And then let's give Eduardo a quick shout out. Eduardo buys, fix, and flips. What's the Unico Real Estate?
Unico Real Estate.
Unico.
It's like unique. Unico Real Estate. Look at this.
And
guy.
Eduardo's a killer too. You guys have been pushing forever.
Yeah,
like, I've seen you working for the last couple of years.
Yep.
So we got a question here, Rudy. We'll let you answer it. What's a double close?
Well, essentially what we ended up doing, man, this one actually almost backfired on me. We actually ended up double closing, which means, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I've never done it here or even tried it in California. I once heard that you can't do double closure in California. I guess some states it's legal, others it is not. But we essentially ended up using on this one here, because it was not within 24, it wasn't going to be within 24 hours. We were going to close on the first deal. We were going to use the end, actually close on that one. And within a matter of some hours or whatever in the same day, we were going to use the end buyer's money to close that first deal. And then actually that's the AB contract. And then between me and the buyer, the BC contract, we were going to use his funds to actually do two different closings. But I had to bring in a private money lender. This guy did not want to close. He wanted to close a couple of days after. We got into some mess. So got private money, came in. We ended up closing. He was happy. He wanted the property delivered vacant, which I understand. The lady requested an additional week. So in the end, it all worked out though.
Did you do a holdback on that with the
Yes.
lady trying to stay in? Yeah.
Yes.
So explain a holdback on that, because I personally am just scarred by tenants.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rudy.
No, all we ended up doing is we had told her that we were going to hold back a portion of her money until the property's actually vacant. And once it was vacant, she was going to receive all of her profits. And she was fine with it. It was legit. You know, she just says, hey, I can't move out within 30 days. I need an additional week. So that's what we told her. And she was completely okay with it.
I love it. And then we have one more question. What did you guys take on property with code violations, shortest code violation flip? The second question I do not get, but if you get a property with a code violation, that's just a nick of pain. The deal that we opened up this with Jason's deal was a code violation deal. And then he actually had the eyes and foresight. I'm like, you know what? I may be able to take this down. Right. But with a code violation, at least that's a nick of pain. And I've had code violations on one of our properties. And I told the code violation people, like, bro, go the fuck away. Like, I'm trying to take care of it with this crazy ass tenant in here. Right. But if I could have just sold that thing cash, I would have sold it cash. You know, so I think it's a good list. Yeah.
So he had another question, time duration. That's kind of the way I took that question. So what's your guys' take on a property with code violations? Well, there's two different scenarios. So when you're in escrow to buy the property, chances are if there's a lien on the property due to code violations, that usually shows up and you're now aware of those code violations. Okay. And chances are there's some sort of fee that needs to be paid. You know, in most cases, the seller is going to have to take care of that. It's one of their liens on the property. So they're responsible for that. And in some cases, if it's bad enough, there's a substandard lien on the property, meaning the property is in such bad condition. They place the lien on it. They won't let the transfer of the property happen unless it's satisfied, meaning that code violation, the issue with the property is resolved and fixed, or there is an agreement signed with the new buyer and the city agreeing that that is going to be fixed in a certain period of time. And if it's not fixed in a certain period of time, there's more liens and more money involved. If it is, then they get rid of the lien for you. So that's that situation. Now there is other situations where you buy the property and the code violations were like, it was building up, but it hadn't been recorded yet. It hadn't been, established yet. And you're on the city's radar. We have had that happen where it's like, oh, there's no liens, no code violations. Day one of owning it, we get a red tag and it's like, oh, you got to fix this code violation. It's like, what the heck? That's pretty jacked up. But chances are, to your question, it sounds like you're aware of the code violation. The code violation is on the property. So either it's going to get paid for, meaning it's not going to be a lien on the property, but the code violation will get taken care of through the actual process of flipping it. So because it's on the city's radar, it just means you need to go get the building permit for the remodel, right? And get the proper permits for that. And you just pay whatever the fees are for that. Usually it's, $1,000 or so. And then you'll do the remodel and work on that. Okay. So yes, you answered, I'm aware. The margin looks like 80 from based on, I don't know what you mean by the margin. Well, I guess if I put the numbers together, it sounds like the sales price, the repair costs, the profit. So, yeah, I would say you should be fine. It's just a matter of remodeling it just like you would anyways, but now you're on the city's radar. So you got to make sure you do the proper permitting process. They'll come out and inspect. So as long as you go through the proper channels and do it on time, then, it might add a couple weeks, but it's not like it's going to be a big deal.
Hell yeah. Well, Rudy, you got anything to leave us with, man? Where can people find out more about you?
Man, you can go. My Instagram is Rudy _ my last name Barrera. But yeah, hey man, I always like to say, and again, just I'm not too active on social media. I keep saying that has to change. I've done enough so where some folks will reach out to me, but if I can help anybody at all in any way, again, hit me up, send me a DM on Instagram. And man, I would love to take the time to help you with any of your deals. I always tell folks, I don't want no part of your deal. I don't want to JV with you. If I can help you, man, come on, hit me up. I've been swamped lately, man, but I will make time to get on a call with you. And if I can help out anyway, man, hit me up. And again, I do that. I mean, of course, because I'm a kind fella, that's the way I roll. But because there's been a lot of you folks, man, and you guys, again, Dean, Stratton, Jason, John. I mean, from even like just big names, it's just kind of everyone is always extremely helpful, man, willing to take the time to say, bro, what you got? How can I help you, man? You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate all you guys, everything that you guys do. So I definitely want to be that person. I mean, something I would do anyways. I always want to give back, man. So if I can help anybody out, please hit me up, Rudy _ Barrera. I'd love to help you guys out.
Abundance mindset right there.
Abundance.
I love that. Thanks, Rudy.
Yes,
again, people, if you want to submit your deals and be on a guest on the podcast, just like Rudy was today, you can go to deanrogers.com/podcast, take you right to a Google form. We want to share your deals, talk about it. Rudy's been an incredible example of a great guest. Not to mention the deal itself was amazing. So we want to thank everybody for watching the Deal Champs podcast. Again, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you like and subscribe. If you are on Apple Podcast or Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching this on Facebook, make sure to hit us with a like, hit us with some comments after the fact. You can follow us at Strat Daddy, at Dean Rogers Real Estate, at Rudy _ Barrera. and make sure to submit your deals. And we will see you guys on the next one.
See you guys. Thanks so
See you
much for
guys.
tuning in.
Peace.